Hey, this is John Dean coming at you from Nomad Happy Hour. Today we have Tiffany on the episode. Tiffany and I met out at Schoolie Palooza and happened to be out at Craggy Wash where we're throwing a birthday bash tonight. We've talked about doing a podcast in the past, and we just happened to have enough time to do an interview. She's traveling around in a Chevy midbus named Falkor the Luck Bus. You can't miss it. It's baby blue and white. If you see her on the road, definitely give her a honk, give her a wave. Tiffany, how long have you been out on the road for?
I started in November.
Of this year?
Yep.
That's pretty short of a time, huh?
Yeah.
And in that short of a time, you are actually moving already out of your bus.
Yep.
And into another bus.
Yeah, upgrading a bit.
And what is that bus that you're moving into?
It is Bluebird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2008, and it's a diesel. I had a gas engine. The Chevy was a gas, and it's 8 windows. I needed a little bit more space for the kiddo and myself, so.
Yeah, because you travel around with your son.
Yeah.
So, and
happy birthday, by the way.
thank you very much, Tiffany. Your son, how does he like being out on the road? Is he enjoying it? Or,
Yeah.
Does he say, Mom, I want to go back to
So
normal, quote-unquote, living?
Oh, no. So it's funny, the first week we were on the road, every single morning we would go get donuts and coffee. So I kind of eased him in with some excitement, and we started in the Pacific Northwest and made our way down the coast. And we'd stop and get out at all the cool spots, and he's fine with it. Since we've been here, he's been inside on the iPad a lot, so I don't know if the desert agrees with him so much. But when we head up to Colorado, we're going to be out and about a bunch more. But yeah, he's fine. He's good with the road life. Right now he's visiting my sister in Phoenix and seeing my mom, and he's stoked about that. But
now that he's on the road with you, how does he deal with, because you don't see many kids in one place. Mm-hmm. So, it's probably a little bit harder for them to meet each other.
Yeah.
Play for 2 weeks every single day, and then see you later.
See you later,
I mean, how does he deal with that?
So when we were in Washington, we stayed on my friend's property for months, and she has a little 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and he and Ember, the little girl, are like best buds, and he still talks about her months later. So with COVID, I figured there's not going to be real school. I'm not going to throw him on Zoom. We're just going to hit the road and go on adventures. And if we eventually settle, then that'll happen for him. But he's happy. He plays. He has fun. And I think he's kind of an independent person anyway, and likes his alone time. And he loves to play with other kids, at the playground, but he doesn't have attachment right now to things. Right. So I think that it's also healthy for him to see that, you can know people and they can leave and you're okay. And because my husband passed away in March, and that's how March of 2020, and that's how this all kind of kicked off.
Oh, wow.
And so I think it's healthy.
My apologies.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that him to see that people can come and go, and it doesn't mean they're gone forever necessarily. We'll see Ember again, and he's with my mom and my sister, and he'll see me again. So it feels like a good space. I wanted him to be, honestly, off the grid, out of the system, and in nature. And he's meeting so many different kinds of people that if we were stationary and he's just going to school and seeing the same people over and over, he would, maybe fall into their ideals or norms. And here he's going to be able to see so much and then develop and find what he likes and what he resonates with, and I think it's good. I traveled a lot when I was younger. I moved around a lot.
With your family or just by yourself? Or?
With my family, but I moved from different state to state, and I feel like almost worse that I would be in a state for a few years and then move. Or
Are you originally from PNW?
No, I was born in Florida.
Oh,
and I
okay.
lived a lot of places.
Yeah. Where at in Florida were you born at?
Cocoa Beach.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
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 I was down in Florida for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Orlando, St. Augustine, Kissimmee,
Yeah.
and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Yeah.
So moved around a few times there.
Sunshine.
Right. So you mentioned something about the schooling with your son.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys homeschool?
We kind of unschool. I lean into his interests, so he loves to read and he loves math, and so I focus on those things and then the subjects that he likes, and we go from there. He's 6 and he's reading at like 2nd grade level, just because that's what he likes. So we just I go into that. We had a thought of possibly moving to Austin before I definitely was doing
Austin,
the bus.
Texas?
Mm-hmm. Because my family's there. My parents moved there. And there was a school there. It's not even a school. It's called an Emancipated Learning Academy. And all the kids, all ages go. And they just do what they're interested in. And so if nobody there is doing chemistry or if Fox isn't interested in it, he doesn't have to do it. It's not schooling to test. It's like life. So if he wants to bake cupcakes, he has to figure out the recipe, and then they go to the store, and then they figure out what they have to buy, and he has to pay for it, and so it's like life kind of skills. Mm-hmm. And if they ask a question, you pop back to the child or the student, the learner. Well, what do you think? Rather than just regurgitating information. Again? Well, it's an Emancipated Learning Academy called a BROAM. So it's similar to Montessori in a way, but it's a learning center rather than, quote, a school. And so the education is more...
Yeah, because when I was in Bend, Oregon, I was doing some photography for a while. Mm-hmm. And I did it with a school that... and I can't even remember the name of it, but it was kind of like that, where they more or less focus on what the kids want to learn about.
Yeah.
There's
a reason they want to learn certain things.
Right.
That's their passion.
Why wait until, I don't know, supposedly they get out of grade school or high school or whatever the level would be to basically go on to what they like.
Right.
I'm 36 today, and I still don't even know what the hell I like and dislike.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not go with what they like at that moment?
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a reason that they have a passion about something, And man, starting them young on focusing on their gifts and their talents and their joy, because then they'll be rock stars when they get older, because they're like being individual and allowing them to be autonomous as humans. The guy that started the Abram Academy, he went to a lot of homeschool and unschooling like conferences, and he said he met the unschool kids and they like were eye to eye to him, and they didn't see him as this great thing. They spoke really well. They spoke eloquently. They looked him in the eye, and they felt like equals rather than smaller, because they're humans. And so I try to kind of lead in that way. It's tough though sometimes, like with a schedule. I want to keep a little bit of a routine, so I could be definitely better with that, but we're learning.
It's really surprising, because after I moved out into this lifestyle, I've had almost more educated conversations with some of the kids that are out on the road that I've had with adults that supposedly know everything.
Right.
But they're talking to me about, and these are like 12, 13-year-old kids that I've talked to, and they're talking to me how to install solar panels. They're talking how to change the oil, how to change tires, how to do all this stuff that, hell, it took me until I was 22 when I went to school to be a mechanic to learn that kind of stuff. Right. And they're learning this stuff at 12.
Yeah.
Which is
cool.
Which is amazing, because I personally think that kids need to, or the younger generation basically need to take a break sometimes.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Because like you were saying, it's figuring out what you want to do and what you don't want to do. I mean, we don't even know what we want to do all the time. So to give them the chance after let's just say after high school, to take a year or 2 years off to go get a job or go travel or go meet people and figure out kind of what you want to do instead of just jumping right into college and going into debt, getting stuck. I don't want to keep rambling on that because I talk about that. I've talked about that a few different times on the podcast.
Well, we're dynamic beings, and we change, and so it's learning and educating and travel. Gosh, it's just because then your world expands and you have more to like integrate to figure out who you are, and just human interaction and experiences are different with that travel and that lifestyle. And I totally agree, because I went to school for hotel restaurant management, and I did that for a while, and it got me in front of people and got me comfortable talking with people and like a lot of life skills in the restaurant, that industry.
Yeah, I did restaurant industry for 9 or 10 years, from management to bussing tables to dishwasher, and everything in between. So I get where you're coming from on that. You know, meeting the people out here that don't understand that is kind of crazy sometimes.
I know there's so many of us out here that have been in that industry in some way, shape, or form. I think because we like that kind of action and change. You know, we're travelers, right? So when you work in that kind of environment, it's every single day is different, and it's kind of high go 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 go. And you know, out here obviously isn't go go go, but we can move, we can change, we can shift, and it doesn't mean that we don't have a home, because like the earth is our home, and we're just, the backyard just changes, you know, and we're traveling. Which
is amazing.
Yeah. It's really cool.
You know, it's like we get bored with the background, or, you know, we get timed out because we got the 2 weeks rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but all you have to do is travel 5 miles. Yeah. And you get another view, another angle. But it's really cool that you touched on the kid side of thing. I haven't had anybody really on here that has been able to talk about, you know, some people, they question stopping their children's life in a, what I call sticks and bricks and 9 to 5 life, and taking them out on the road because they're scared of changing their life so quickly or taking them away from what they're used to. To get that message out there to the families and the parents, or even single parents that are out there, you know, anybody can do it.
I think I've noticed a lot of people, oh, well, I'll do that when I'm 50, or I'll do that. And it's just, it was so much easier than so many people said or I expected. And I could have done it much less expensive too. So like, really, if you can buy a vehicle, buy a bus, you know, if you have a kid, it's just living off grid, not having to pay rent and, you know, all that kind of sticks and brick bills, and save up to go travel to the destination you live in. It's just, it's wild, and it is so easy to do. And then the more of us that do it, the more we see each other, and the more, you know, interaction with other children and other families. And I think COVID really made it easy for me because of, you know, him already being yanked out of school, so that changed. So he's not doing that. My husband passes away, so that's house is different already. And so it was like, well, we could go settle somewhere, and I could just get a job, and like my parents could watch him, and then we just do that, and
or maybe even there. Move into your parents' home.
Yeah. And then I was like, or I could follow my heart, my bliss, what I've wanted to do for so long, and take him along for the ride. And as he gets older, if he's like, Mom, I don't like this, then we'll have an honest conversation, and we'll talk about it. But at this point, he loves it. I check in with him, and he's super into it. He digs it. He loves to be outside. It's funny. He would say, like, when we started traveling, he would kind of fuss about getting off the bus, because when we're driving, he's on his iPad or he's reading books or whatever. And then we're on the trail, and he said, you know, Mom, I always like don't want to do it when we say we're going to, but then I love it when we're out here. He just loves to be, he skips around. So I see the light in him, and also his energy changes because we have stayed at my parents' house for a while, you know, after everything happened, and even at my friend's house, he was a little off. He was a little not volatile, but he would get very emotional. I mean, obviously his dad just passed away, so there's that too. But since we've been on the road, like out here and at school, and we started traveling, he's so happy all the time. He's great. He's just easy, and, sometimes he's tired and just like regular kid stuff. He hasn't been sick. He's just like thriving. And
That's
so
amazing. Yeah. Especially because like you send kids, in the regular world, you send them to school, they get sick every other week.
Yeah.
And we're out here rolling around in dirt and, sometimes not taking showers for multiple days.
Multiple days, yeah.
But
this kid is dirty.
I think a lot of that builds our immune levels.
Yeah. It's like there were a couple nights where he coughed a little bit. And I was like, don't you? So it just like pumped him with some oranges and elderberry. Literally the next day, he's back to fine. So I really believe in this life. I believe in really communing with nature and what an offering it has. And we're just breathing this fresh air all the time and not stuck inside. It's like forced outside time. More for me than him, because I used to have like walkie-talkies, or each of us have a cell phone. I have to find one of them because I lost it. But anyway, and I would have him, we'd walk each other if I would go up to a bus build or whatever. And then I stopped. And then it's like, no, you got to come find me because we're in a safe space. He knows everybody here by now. He can't go anywhere. And like, we trust and know the people that are with us. And so then it gets him outside.
Our own built family community out here. Mm-hmm. And meeting everybody at schooling. Yeah. And then, we were all kind of, not all of us, but some of us were separated for like 3 weeks. Yeah. And then we all came to Craggy Wash, and everybody just happened to be here.
And a bunch of us are going to Colorado together. It's just like, it's this blissful, beautiful, and I've checked in with some of the other women, and we just walk along and we're just we're so happy. We're just like looking at each other like, this is our life, because in this community, the way we communicate and we deal with conflict, because it's just regular world too, in that way, like there's conflict that arises, there's things that happen, but there's so much love and support. It really feels like we are not just building the new earth and creating it. It feels like we are it, because we're coming from our heart space, and we always want to check in with each other and see what somebody needs, and there's a person for everything. Like, people are like, what are you going to do out in the world, and how are you building your bus out there in the desert? And it's just, there's
the same way that you do at a house or a shop.
Yeah. And people are
power.
So we have power, we have generators, and we just make it happen. And we just, someone will go buy a bunch of food. Like, little Tiff went to the store, just came back with all this food for everyone, just giving it away. And it's just like, it's mind-boggling to if you stand back and you kind of watch how people are with each other and how they deal with interactions, and with everybody's trying. We're like facing.
Well, it takes it back to almost like the cowboys and Indians, the barter and trade life, the working together into a community. Not so much. Some people think of it as like a commune, but it's not a commune. There's nobody.
Because people come and go. Yeah. There's no leader. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you get to make your own choices.
Right.
You get to leave and come as you please.
Yeah.
But if everybody is enjoying it, nobody wants to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than when you have to leave to a new destination.
Yeah. And I do like there was an incident one time, and someone had to have a conversation with an individual, said, that's not okay here, man. You can't treat people like that. Mm-hmm. And and that had to arise and come up, and he had to go leave and take care of some emotional stuff, and so, but it's met with such a loving way, it's stuff like this doesn't happen this way in the real world. And also, like, you don't go have bonfires with your neighbors every night or every other night, and it's,
or just walk up on a random one.
Yeah. It's
like, right? We don't have any wood tonight, but 30 yards down there,
Yeah.
I see somebody has a fire. Let's
Yeah.
go and see it.
Play some music and just like look at the stars and just be mesmerized and go to bed with a full belly and a full heart and
And
then,
not even ask for it.
yeah, right.
You know, this morning I got a knock on the door from Nomad, and he's like, "Hey, you want some breakfast?" And he's got a big old pot of breakfast
Yeah.
in his hand.
Yeah,
It's like, just grab a bowl.
Yeah.
And he walked around to everybody's rig
Yeah.
and fed everybody this
Yeah,
morning.
and someone else is like, "Who wants coffee? I want some coffee." It's just constant. It's constant, like abundance. People just giving, and where does it come from? It's like magically appears, and it's just given to us because we focus on the blessings and we pay attention to it and we give. And so we're just constantly in this cycle of like lovingly giving and receiving.
Don't take advantage of it.
Right. Well, there are some that do.
There are some that do.
And then they end up departing sometimes because the energy
well, and they
isn't
make that
matched.
choice
Right.
themselves, really.
Yeah.
Not really. There's no contract per se of staying around
Right.
with a group of people.
Yeah.
So, there's nobody that will say, "Hey, you have to leave." But they just know that if nobody's hanging around with them or that vibe's getting kicked off on them, then it's like, I might as well just roll out and go to a different place.
Yeah, exactly. It's really beautiful how it all, comes together, and how when people leave, it's not even like you would think, because things get intense in the desert. Like romance is like you're with someone for 2 weeks and it feels like a freaking year. It's crazy. And even friendships and those dynamics, you get so close with people because it's so intimate, and like you're carrying your pee outside, or you know what I mean? We're so
waving at your neighbor.
Right.
Morning. Just pulling my pee out.
Yeah. Like, but that we're so intimately connected with our bodies and with what we're doing, and that stuff. Like I was cleaning out my toilet and I like got poop on my hand, and I was like, because Fox like peed in that part and it messed up the whole thing, and I'm like, but I laughed about it. I wasn't like and then my whole day got ruined. I was just like, this is freaking hilarious. But we like intimately know each other so well, and then someone leaves and it's not like so sad or so painful. It's just like, it was awesome knowing you. I'll see you down the road. Enjoy. I can't wait to see what you've got going on. Maybe I'll come meet up with you, maybe not. And then we're just interacting and meeting so many different people, and it really feels like we're drawn together, like we magnetized together.
So with you being so fresh on the road, it seems like a lot of people that are new, they take their rig or they take their family and they go out to the woods and they're by themselves, or they're out in the desert or wherever, and they're by themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you end up finding, or how do you think that you ended up finding your connection with the people that you're with now?
Oh, wow. So we were, the whole trek down to Phoenix, so we drove down, from Castle Rock, Washington, and we drove down the coast, had a transmission issue, had like a crazy experience. But we were solo, just Fox and I, and we were parking and we were going, and we didn't meet anybody. And we got to Phoenix for Thanksgiving, but we had to get a rental car in between because I needed a new transmission. Then I was solo because I had to drive back up, get the bus, and drive back down. So I had, instead of seeing like, oh shit, $5,000, new transmission, this fucking sucks. Sorry, I cursed.
You're good. We do whatever we want on this podcast.
So instead of that being, I instead was just like, it just is what it is. And then in retrospect, I had a beautiful week by myself. I went to Sedona. I went to the Sequoia National Forest and like had such a healing, crying, beautiful experience alone, able to grieve and just focus on myself and my healing, and that was awesome. And then we met up with someone to kind of caravan to Schoolie, so we met up with Sherelle, Sugar Mama.
So ever since the beginning, though, you had plans to go to Schoolie?
Yeah, my plan was to get to Schoolie, because I was like, I wanted to. I also knew, it was so funny, like I knew right away I wanted a new bus because I just didn't like how it was built for us. And so I was talking to a guy in Texas about building me a new bus or fixing the one. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to do this. He was just going to fix it. He said, I won't be able to do it before schoolie. Why don't you head there, get some ideas, and then come back? Then plans changed. I get to schoolie. I meet these people. I met Nicole and Brent. I met them online ahead of time, and Brent had actually come to Texas to my parents' house and saw my bus, and we chatted, and I rode with Sherelle.
If people knew the connections,
yeah,
because like I'm putting it together right now because I know Brent and I know Nicole and I know how they got connected and I know, like, okay, so just a little short glimpse is like, you're in Texas, Brent's in Texas.
Yeah.
I think Nicole was in Florida at the time. Brent ends up going over to Florida to help her with her rig. And then we all end up meeting again in Arizona at Schoolie Palooza.
Yeah, exactly. And like Nelson's like, hey, everybody's going over to Craggy Wash to build our buses, and I'm gonna go pick mine up. You can go to AAA and like see what you think. I'm like, all right, shoot, I'll go. And we had been together for 3 weeks at school. Or like, I got there early, so we'd been together for, a while at Schoolie, getting to know each other, and I was into it, and I liked the people, and then more people came, and then there's more beautiful people, and then we get here, and we meet up Tyson and Nico over there, and then we all kind of came together, and it just... Then it's been like a month we're here, and didn't expect to get a job in Colorado. I wasn't planning on that. I was planning on heading up to the Pacific Northwest, seeing my friend, and then going down to Texas for a little bit, and just kind of making my rounds around the West area, and not even going back to the East for a while. And now I'm going to be in Colorado all summer in this beautiful place. So he's going to be with another child, Fox, for a whole summer, except when he flies to Texas to visit Grammy and Grandpa and have that dynamic. And again, I'm going to be solo, really just focusing on the job and fun. But stuff like, I just am going with the flow. That's all it is. I'm just not planning too far ahead and just seeing where the road takes me and like following, riding the wave, and it's working. It's working really well.
So before we get too much further, I kind of want to go back real quick on, I think we kind of skipped, is how did you decide to get into this lifestyle? Because it sounds like, it's, you were married, you have a kid.
Yeah.
I'm guessing living the 9-to-5 life somewhere in a home.
Yeah. So my husband he worked remote. And he actually struggled with addiction, and that's how he passed away. And when we met, he was playing disc golf all the time. He didn't have the 9-to-5 job, and my work, I do energy work. I'm an intuitive healer. I do readings and stuff. So I didn't have the whole 9-to-5 thing. But I'm like, you work remote, I work remote. Why don't we just get a tiny house and travel? And he was like, well, maybe we rent an RV for 2 weeks, because he liked that stability. And we were going to put Fox in school and, do that whole thing. And when he passed away, I was just like, it's so funny. We had bills and we had all these loans, but he did it all in his name. So as soon as he passed away, it's like he did it. It's like part of him knew or something. All that was lifted, right? And then suddenly I have the ability to do this. And I didn't want to settle. I didn't want to just go plant myself with my parents because that's what I should do. Because it's the right thing to do.
And grieve and mourn and sit there and, not, it probably wouldn't, and I don't know your family, but if I would do that, I would feel like it would be not good energy to get over what you were going through.
I actually did go there, and it was so traumatic, that experience, that's how I ended up in Washington. My girlfriend was like, Tiffany, you need to grieve, you need to get over here, you're not getting what you need to come here and be able to just be and grieve and let go and just get love. And oh man, she and her husband took such good care of me. Her husband's just like kind, this big tall dude, just like a big teddy bear, the do everything kind of guy, and he took to Fox, really well. So it was nice to get that kind of man with him. Now, Fox and my parents, they love each other. They get along so well. So he had my dad too, and they're really close. He loves my dad. But my relationship with them affected him because my energy was off and I wasn't happy. And so he wasn't happy because it didn't work. And so, so I knew this is what I have to do. I just knew, I wanted to do it before, and there was I knew it immediately, and I always wanted to travel. I wanted to see the beautiful nature and national parks before our former president destroyed them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got to get out there and show my kid what real life is and not this bullshit. Because
it's cool because you can show him what he's learning.
Yeah.
Instead of just, just read it.
Yes.
It's an actual physical thing right in front of you.
And we get the books, and I'm like, where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. Which place do you want to go to? What do you want to see? What do you want to learn about? What do you like? And so it's awesome.
When you told your family that you were actually moving out on the road, what was their first, you're nuts?
Yeah.
Or you're taking your kid out on the road, yeah. You're probably gonna die.
Oh yeah. Oh, all of it. First of all, a school bus is a terrible idea, and why don't you just get an RV? Second, why don't you just do it part-time? Why don't you just, buy some land or rent some land here in Texas, and then you guys can go off and then come back and go and come back, and you have little adventures, but you have that stability and the safety aspect. Oh, big time. What are you gonna do? And
a single mother with a child.
Yeah. And I was just I'm good. I just know. And I have a mace gun, but I'm so it sounds so cheesy and hippie, but I'm intuitive, and
you read people.
Yeah, and I pay attention. There was a time where I had parked in a spot. This is when I was solo in Sedona, and I parked in this one spot, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I moved before the night came. I just knew, I was like, this isn't the spot for me. So I went down to another place where I felt safer. So I'm following that intuition, and then in this community, I just surrounding myself with these beautiful people, and I knew. And it's funny, my friend in Washington, when I got my new bus, she's like, why are you getting a new bus? You should just buy the land next door and do that, and have your adventures. Still said it a few weeks ago. I'm like, oh no, babe, this is it. Same. Yeah, it's not. And
you're still not stuck, but you're still stationary.
Right. Yeah. And
why would I build a tiny home on wheels?
Right. Yeah.
To be stationary.
Exactly. Yeah. The idea of having a place to plop down where you're good, but I've never had an issue. And so when I travel with Sherelle, she was used to, the gas stations and all that, and that's what she did. And then I took her to her first BLM spot, and she was like, oh my. She said, wow, Tiff. And then we woke up, there were all these birds, and it was this water, and it was beautiful. And she's like, all right, you can find the spots from now on. I'm like,
where did you meet Sherelle at?
Brent hooked me up with this woman, Erin, who started with us, but she wasn't ready for it, so she went back. And so Erin and Sherelle were traveling, gonna travel together. And so, on the Facebook website, was one of those groups. And so we met in northern Texas and traveled to Deming, and then kept going together. And we had a good connection. Totally different human beings, totally different walks of life, and we made it. We did a really good job together, and we had a good dynamic. But then, her ship sailed. She wasn't comfortable with the vibration was different for her, so she moved on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's okay.
Right.
And I didn't feel the same way. And
you might meet up with her.
Right.
Later on down the road.
Yeah, and I love her, and so we still talk and connect. But we were tight. We were every single day for weeks, right next to each other, in each other's buses. every night after Fox goes to bed, talking and spending time together. And we became very, very, we would text each other. We would, voice message each other. We'd tell each other everything. We were always in communication, more, like, so much.
In a short period of time, too.
And then she left, and then it sort of, slowed down a little bit. We stopped. Because it's not like out of sight, out of mind. It's like, all right, now you're on another journey. Mm-hmm. And so now every now and again we check in, and I'm just like, how you doing, sugar mama? And I think about her a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for the experience that I have, because this woman used to say to me, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So I really try to focus on now, present, and I don't try to have like a deep attachment. And I just because then when you have that clinginess or that need or that attachment, then you can't really be in the heart and be in the present, because you're so worried about, well, what's going to happen if you leave, or if I leave, or what's going to change. Then that takes away from the love and the beauty of the now. Mm-hmm. So I really, and that's something I just learned, maybe just with age, with time, with experiences, with seeing other people and myself, and how good it feels now, to just be fully present in the moment, and really enjoy people and not be offended by stuff. Some people just get really easily,
especially nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like you say something to somebody, and they get offended, or they want to fight about it, or
it's like they're looking to
I'm
going
to sue you, or whatever it is. It's it's so silly. Why do we have to take things so dramatically?
Yeah.
Just sit down and have a conversation with each other. Uh-huh. And if it doesn't work out, then go on your way.
Yeah. People change. If you expect people to stay the same and never change, and that's just not who we are. We're not made that way. We have new experiences, and they change us, and our interests change, and our, so and being okay with that, and not trying to change other people too to fit your box.
I think that's a good way to kind of explain, personal relationships. Mm-hmm. With each other out on the road too. Yeah. Is because we get emotional with somebody, we get physical with somebody. Yeah. And intimate. Like you said, sometimes it's gonna be a week, sometimes it could be 2 weeks, sometimes it could be 6 months, a year, whatever it is. But people do change. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we've been told in our whole life that if you're with somebody and they change, that you're supposed to change with them and all this stuff, and it's no, let them go on their path. We'll figure it out.
And if you really care deeply and love someone, then just not trying to have ownership of them and their experiences, and just being love in the moment, and just grateful, and not being in pain or suffer over, if something shifts or changes, and just being happy. And almost important to go in with that intention, with, okay, I don't know how long this is going to be, and I'm just going to mindfully be in the now every single moment with it, and let go of any expectations, because that's what kills us, is expecting that. Mm-hmm. And then people surprise you, and then it's you're gifted with such beautiful love and food, support, and even the non-sexual relationships are intimate and loving, and because you're just fully giving yourself. It also helps to let go and be your true authentic self, because a lot of times in relationships you're oh, I gotta be this thing, but in the desert you're dirty and you're gross and you're and it's
those friendship emotions are kind of crazy too, because I was just thinking, Matt's rig the other night was doing a movie night, and everybody was just laying together on the ground in the bus, and I think in the regular world it's it would be not the norm for everybody to be cuddled up and be sitting there watching a movie, but there isn't that tension between each other. There isn't that oh my God, he or she is gonna touch me, and
inappropriate. Yeah.
Right.
It's just
oh my
not
God,
that way.
their pinky swiped across my leg, and now it's a sexual harassment situation.
Right.
No. We're just comfortable with each other.
I cuddle with so many people and like hug on them, and men, women, we just like love each other, and it's never sexual. It's just different. It's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of experience. And like I'm naked on the roof with the girls in the sunbathing, and men are walking and by, but we're not ogled at or anything. We're just like, hey, can you toss me a whatever? And they're just like, here you go. And then I'm not, there's no feeling, there's just no, it's weird. I mean, it depends on different people. Like, I'm sure in some situations there can be insecurity and jealousy. It depends on what level you're at in your own growth. But it's a good place to see and learn that too, and have really conscious, open conversations.
Very open conversations with people that we literally just meet.
Yeah. I know.
Like sometimes it's less than a week, and I'm sitting there having a conversation with somebody and telling them things that people in my life that I've known my whole entire life don't even know about.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely. I've gotten very deep and intimate with people and bringing us together, and there's been some beautiful healing experiences, and all of us that are here have, I mean, everybody has a special background, but there's just something that brought us here, that brought us together. You know, I feel like there's like a aspect of soul family, but that gets me into the woo-woo crazy stuff. But I feel like there's definitely a reason.
Side of things.
Yeah, it's fun. But I'm just every day like blissed out, and I like how we are mindful about how we feel physically too. Like if we're because of the lifestyle, if like yesterday I was just kind of lagging, you know, and we kind of we got stuff accomplished. We pulled the tape off the bus, Nico put in the radio, and we burnt all the firewood and cleaned up. We cleaned up all our spots, and that was a lazy day, you know what I mean? But like we're just, and then some days you wake up and you're like, all right, let's go, let's get it, let's do, you know, hustle and get stuff done. But we just kind of pay attention to our bodies even more. Like you're not forced to go to an office, to go to it because you don't feel good and you have to go and you're miserable. It's like we take a step back and commune with ourselves because we have the space and we have the time and we're in the environment to do that.
Well, and we don't need as much. You know, like if you don't need as much, then you don't have to work as much per se. You know, you don't have to figure out how am I gonna make money today.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, okay, I know that I need to make money this week. I could work 2 days, or if I really need to, I could work all 7 days.
Yeah. And then people talk about savings and stuff too, obviously, and because we need so much less, there's more space for that too. I mean, it's just I buy good food because I want to put good food in my body and my son's body and gas, but I have solar and I have like I don't need anything else. Literally, you know, paying for, you know, life insurance or, you know, insurance on the bus and that kind of stuff. And it's just so minimal. It's so minimal, and you get away with needing less. You even eat less, I feel, in the desert. It's like because you're so replenished by the by the land. It's weird. Like I'm less hungry out here. It's wild.
I think one thing that we've learned in our life, but we ignore it, is that you're not really supposed to eat like 3 full-on meals a day.
Yeah.
Like, you're pretty much better off of just eating all day, little portions all day long.
Right.
And then, you know, having a dinner or something like that. But, you know, you stay healthier that way. I mean, I haven't eaten so many fruits and vegetables and stuff like that until I actually got out on the road, because it's just, and again,
that's road
easy.
Food, right? That's fast food, is you got a bag of oranges and you're just eating that. And you're feeling so good. You're not stopping at McDonald's. Like, people maybe wonder about that. No, it's definitely super
I mean, don't get me
easy.
wrong. There's times that you
Of
stop.
course, there's moments.
But
Yeah.
I've eaten way healthier since I've been out on the road.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I've been out a little bit longer, than you have and whatnot. But it's like my eating habits have totally changed from 3 years ago.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I always ate pretty healthy, but I definitely eat less. I do a lot of fasting. And then I eat like a big meal at dinner. Like it's like a collaborative thing a lot of times. Sometimes it's just
keeping up on
one-on-one.
Hydration keeps you full.
Oh yeah.
The more you drink
And
water, the less you have to really
so
eat.
much water, so much green juice, and
I just started on green juice,
Yeah.
and it took me, the first couple of days. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
What is this raw tire that I'm drinking?
Not good. It's definitely not good sometimes. Yeah.
But then now it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna shoot it back and do it.
And then you feel it, and you're like, oh, this feels good. And I have, certain like vitamins and stuff that I take, like, but they're like natural. Like I take reishi mushroom and lion's mane, and it's all like this earth stuff, and I'm just like putting it in, and I just feel good. And then I go to bed and I'm tired, and I don't need to take anything to go to sleep because I'm not watching TV all the time, and my mind's not taking in all this stuff, all this information, all this. I don't have to cleanse myself of that bullshit that's like out there. I don't even know about half of what's happening in the world.
Other than when we drive to Walmart.
Right. And then
come back to camp.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I need a mask.
Yeah.
Or not anymore here in Arizona, but. So you said you're headed to Colorado after this.
Yep.
And going with the flow, talking about that. Let's, you were saying earlier is you got a job with a whole bunch of the group from here. Yeah,
so it's funny. So this guy that we met at school, Ethan, he is a manager for a whitewater rafting company in Colorado, and they're purging the team there, right? So they're cleansing it out, and they were looking for new people. And then he comes to this camp, and he sees all these people interacting and communicating together and working really well and dealing with conflict and able to communicate with each other. And he's like, yeah. And so a lot of people are like, I want in on it. And I at first was like, I'm just gonna come and be like the camp mom and make food, when you guys come back. And then I think it was Brent was like, you should try to see if you can do it, and so I was like, all right, I'm jump in. And I said, I have a son, and I wasn't planning on it because I have a 6-year-old. Like, I can't be a whitewater rafting guide. Maybe I'll do office work. I don't know. If it doesn't work out, I don't care. I'm still going to come. And then I'll flit around and I'll come back and visit. But then...
Well, because you're going to still be working on your other
Exactly.
job, right?
So this woman, Michelle, who's running with us, who I met here, she has a daughter who's 9 or 12, and she said, Tiff, she used to be a school teacher. So she's like, what if I watch Fox and my daughter, and you can go work, and I'll do school with them? And it's like, so he's going to have a little summer school out in nature, and I'm going to go earn some income part-time, but she's also going to keep him. And so like half the time I'll be doing the job. I'm not going to do it 5 days a week. I'll be doing that. I'll be out. And then the other half, I'm going to focus on my business and focus on, getting clients and connecting and because I took some time off from that, after scattered here and there. I took down my website. It was like kind of focusing inward on me. And then I realized I had a session the other day. I've been working with people here for free, just doing it for love. But then
do you want to explain a little bit about what your business is?
So I do medium intuitive reading. So I do psychic readings. I don't say psychic readings because then people think you're predicting the future, but timelines change. It's more about I'm a spiritual alchemist. So I help people alchemize their soul and their spirit and really go inward and I like to help people find their light source and let go of all this stuff, like feel the way I feel when I've tuning in with my authentic self. And but I do readings, so oracle cards and channeled messages from either people that have crossed over, higher dimensional beings, and I'm a Reiki master, so I do energy work. But I kind of do my own energy work thing. I have the attunements and that. And Reiki is working with you channeled or attuned symbols and just source light and kind of running it through you and offering it for healing and working on the chakras and cleaning cords, attachments, and cleansing auras. And so it's like a whole big combination of what I do. And I do guided meditations, and so it's beautiful work, and it's different every single time. And so I've been working with people for fun out here, just kind of, that's my contribution, plus food and things like that. But I've been just contributing in that way.
So are you going to be doing this more online?
I do. So I wasn't sure how it was going to work out in the land. So I had a Zoom mediumship session last week, and it was fine. I had great service. It was beautiful. Someone took care of Fox, and I prep for an hour. I meditate and kind of get in the zone, and then I have an hour session. And
Is it going to be like a single one-on-one, or are you going to be doing like group sessions online?
I do single one-on-one. I like that. I like to work deeper with people, and I do group like guided meditations, that kind of thing. So I'll probably record some of those when I get the motivation to do that. Like actually work on my own podcast and my own whatever outlet I decide to use at this time. I was on YouTube and I was doing all that, but I just was like, I'm tired of hearing myself talk. I'm tired of hearing what I have to say. I want to learn. I want to receive. I just want to be present and feel. And so now I'm like, okay, I can maybe get back to that again, and I'm ready. I'm in the place for that. But I just, again, not so worried about how am I make money doing this, and really doing it just because I love it. Like I wake up when I have a session, like I love what I do. Freaking love it. But a rafting's gonna be cool too.
Have you launched your website back up yet?
No, I haven't. It's tiffanyfd.com. I just have to repay for it. So I'm going to do that when I go to Colorado.
So now that it's out here on the podcast,
I'm gonna have to do it today. I have to go.
Now you have to post it back up.
I need to use one of the people that we have out here who's really great with websites, because there's so many, and have them help me kind of edit it and change it up. I'm not good on the back end stuff, but that's what this collaboration is for. You know, you help me work on that, all the editing and that stuff, and I'll give you a free session or some crystals or whatever. Well, it's just a good, and money exchange happens too out here. Not to say it doesn't. It definitely does. So,
but the one thing that people have to realize is that if somebody exchanges an object or a meal, or they help you with a motor work or something like that, that is exchanging money.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if they're doing that for you, it's an exchange of where you don't need that money to pay for that job that's getting done now.
Yes. Yeah.
So, some people think that you get cheated on the trade and bartering and stuff like that. But
I've never felt that way. So I had a captain's chair in my bus, and $500 captain's chair, but it just didn't fit right. It didn't work in Falkor. It was like too big. And so I gave it to Nelson, and Nelson's like, all right, I'm going to pay for you to build whatever you're going to build in place of it. And so he took the thing, and he took care of, paying for the supplies or whatever I needed. And so that kind of stuff. And you just never really, nobody's micromanaging and making sure that we're even, and it's not, that doesn't feel good. It's not about that. It's just flowing again with like offering what we have, and nobody feels cheated. And if they do, they'll speak up. If somebody says, I really wanted to we were doing morning meditations, and then a group kind of collaboration to circle up, because we're doing on 2022, there's going to be a big event that is going to happen. We're going to do a big festival. So we're all talking, and then one of the people was like, I feel like I didn't get to speak. I didn't get my opportunity because people were talking over. And so we altered how we did things.
Wait, you're gonna do a festival?
Yeah.
Of what? Like,
so it's kind of in its early stages. So I don't know if you met Shauna and Corey yet.
mm-mm.
They have a podcast they just started called This and That, but they're working on a nonprofit, and I would let them go into more detail about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
if you can get me in contact with them, I mean, I would love to. If they want to put the info out there, we can do a podcast.
You should. Yeah, they're really great, and they're so they're working with Elliot and Nicole, and she worked in New York City, and she worked for government offices, and so she did a lot of planning, and she worked with big companies, and so she
Nicole Blue Orchid.
Yeah,
got it.
And so like she's doing that aspect of it, making sure we have the land, making sure we have the proper forms filled, like doing all of that, right? And then Shauna and Corey are really about teaching people how to use marijuana in a healing way, and educating on that, and also, you know, educating on having honest conversations. And so the event is going to be, it's going to be a party, but it's also going to be there's going to be you know, intuitive readings, there's going to be dance, there's going to be meditation, there's going to be a whole bunch of, there'll be comedians. I've already talked to my friend, his name's Bootsy Greenwood. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's rad. He's so cool. He's like, you gotta check him out. He's a comedian, but he also has
Bootsy Greenwood?
Yeah, he has a YouTube where he reads audiobooks, and then he also breaks down like reality transurfing, the book. If you haven't heard of it, definitely check out how he breaks that down. He breaks down is it Interview with the Devil or Outwitting the Devil? And he's got a group called Get Coached, and it's a collaborative group. There's a time bank instead of, and so like you put in, a time bank is where you put in your skills, right? And when you're available, and it's like you take out that and you put in kind of instead of a regular bank. It's pretty interesting. But so he's got a podcast and he interviews people, but it's not even, I won't say woo-woo, because he's more, what does he call himself? The blue collar mystic or something. But he's funny. He's a funny guy.
I'll have to check him out.
So he's going to come do some jokes and be funny, you know? And so we know so many artists and musicians too, so we're gonna have a big festival with music. And
I would like to definitely talk to you guys more about that off air, and see if there's anywhere where I can help out with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. But we're like, it's definitely happening.
Okay.
Yeah. And because that date, we're locking that date in. That's when it's happening.
Yeah, that's a cool date. What was it? 2/22/22 or
2/22/2022.
2022.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And then is that gonna be? And I know it's, you know,
yeah,
new kind of thing talking about it.
Yeah.
But is it talked about that it's gonna be a yearly thing, or just?
Oh gosh, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we haven't even. We just knew. It's like we're all the background, all the build up to the collaborative and to the non-profit. Like, it's all kind of building up and being, you know, the ground floor is being laid, the roots, the foundation, and then the big event is bringing people together. And there's a lot of different legs and elements to. We want to teach people about this community that we're doing and how they can have these conscious communities, and that's a big part of it too, is teaching people how we do this and how we're creating this new earth and this new dynamic.
When can everybody kind of look out for information coming out on this? Do you guys have?
I would say within a few months. Like, we're building it up. They're getting started. They've already started their podcast, and where they're talking about stuff. We're not saying too much about it until it's kind of, we know where, we know who's coming. we came up with it at one of our morning meetings. Like, who has morning meditation meetings and chats? Like, what? Every day. And we were like morning yoga together. And like, then we realized all our skills and we're like, oh my God, we're going to do this thing. And it's all because each of us individually followed our true north, and it brought us together. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear more about it.
Yeah.
And hopefully be a part of it.
For sure.
Some way or
Oh,
another.
definitely. Yeah.
Usually at this time in the podcast, I have asked people is what would be a message that you would give to new people that are coming out on the road. Basically, how to get out on the road, what you would do beforehand, how you've kind of gotten your information, just a little short.
So, yeah, I did a lot of research on, the Schoolie forum and different like Facebook groups and just talk to people, but I didn't really do that much research. I just kind of hit the road and did it and that experience. And my big thing is honestly like to just do it. But I would say
that's been a repetitive answer. No, literally it's great because everybody has been pretty much in different forms has been saying just do it.
And like don't sweat the small stuff. Like if something goes wacky or right, it's okay. It's going to be fine. We all help each other out. Bethany needed a new tire in freaking Schoolie. And so what happened? She plays her piano outside and everybody, within 20 minutes, $400 at her feet to just give it to her. You will be okay. Like we take care of each other out here. So find your tribe. And that's just by following where you're guided, really paying attention and noticing like where you want to go and just go with it. And if there's hiccups, do not focus on the negative. Like don't focus on the negative because you're just going to get more and more and more and more and more. Really what you pay attention to is what you get. So like transmission blew. Okay, whatever. You just kind of let it's like, so this is reality transurfing stuff and there's things called pendulums and the pendulum swings, right? And it's always trying to knock you down and you push it back, you push it away and try to fight it and it just comes back at you. Or if you like focus on it, so to dissolve things and this is about narratives and like patterns in your life too. If you see something that comes back, right, and just ignore it, it's going to come back. And so if you lean into it and face it, that's how it sort of dissolves. But with things on the road, any hiccups, just know, like just take a deep breath and put yourself out there, and there's going to be some nomad around the corner that will come help you. It's just how it works. And so you just have to let that stuff go because then it kind of happens less frequently, and things happen and people come together and they help and just focus on the joy of it and don't worry about the other stuff. And I also solar compost toilet, big things for sure. But you can go poop outside. It's not the end of the world either, Just not. Having the solar is a game changer. I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I have a huge water tank, and so that baby I can be gone for a month and no worries. And so that would be my practical thing is have good solar and that kind of system and stuff. And there's so many people that know, but just to do it, if you're thinking about it, that's for a reason. If it excites you, that's for a reason. If it doesn't excite you, then it's not your thing. But if it excites you and you're like, oh man, I want to do that, then you should do that. And don't wait till you're 50 or I'm 40 and that's when I did it. But don't wait because just you're supposed to do it.
Do you feel like though what happened in your life at the time, it kind of forced you to choose to finally do this?
Well, it would have been a battle to do it with my husband because he wasn't in the space for it. I knew this is what I'm going to do. Oh, I'm going to do this.
Because there are people that get forced into this life.
Yeah, there are.
And then there's people that have choose to be in this life.
Yeah, I don't feel like I was forced at all. I feel like it was gifted to me. It was meant to be. Everything how it was supposed to happen is what happened, and I feel like my husband's with me, guiding me, and I've had situations where like meeting a person was kind of off, and I received that knowledge kind of from him. Like he would pop in and just be like, he would come through Fox. So interesting. Fox would be like, it was crazy. And so I feel like he's just like ushering me along and making it so like my path is clear. And so I definitely feel like this is what I was supposed to do and meant to do, because it was exciting. If it's exciting for you, there's a reason. Like if you love sharks, then go play with sharks or whatever. Like as a kid, you know what I mean? Like if you love fucking accounting, then you're supposed to do that. But if this is like exciting, then that's for a reason. And so just do it, and just like, and all you have to do, so there's practical. There's like your subconscious heart space that creates, like feeling is the secret. That's Neville Goddard. And so you get into the feeling, and you create it in your mind, and you just kind of imagine it, and you just picture you visualize, and it's not like a vision board. It's like, God damn, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. You just imagine it. And this is what I did. I just wanted to, how am I going to feel? And I saw, it's funny. I saw myself like dancing at a part, like outside under twinkly lights, and just like happy and with these beautiful people, and like in love, and in just beautiful
and we've
stuff.
Done that so many times.
Right? And so I saw that, and I'm like, okay. And I saw how it would feel with Fox, and I saw him frolicking and playing. And then, so that's my subconscious mind. And then I have to give my practical conscious mind, which is the masculine side, was the action side, something to do. And so I start looking at buses. I start looking at stuff, and whatever you're pointing your attention to is what happens. And I don't worry about how am I going to afford this? How is this going to do this? It's like, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to happen. And look, I faltered. I didn't choose the right builder. But like in retrospect, I think that I loved the experience I had in Falkor, because it made me know what I want and how I want to do things differently. For a single person or even a couple, that bus is great. But for me and a kid, it just wasn't the right space, right? So I learned about what I wanted. So I don't regret spending all the money I spent on it, because it's going to go to the right home. It's a beautiful bus. It has shit tons of solar. It's awesome. But I am going to know that, like, I don't need a shower inside. So I'm going to have an outdoor shower. Mm-hmm. So I'll have more space for other things that are more important for me, right?
And then who knows? Maybe 6 months to a year down the road, you might decide that this next one is the right one.
Because it's kind of fun to build it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, maybe we'll build this and sell it. Maybe we'll build another one. You know what I mean? Like, and who knows? Because it's fun. I'm like, and now I'm doing these other things, like, I'm helping cut, the wood with the saw, and I'm like helping do stuff, and
you do that
measuring.
Stuff before you
God, no, I didn't know anything about anything. I'm learning so much from all these beautiful people that I'm just like, I want to help. I don't want to just watch you build my bus. I want to do, I want to take part in it. And then you feel this like beautiful
have
love
them stand by your side. The ones that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Have them stand by your side and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But you're going to physically do it.
Yeah.
So in that way, again, you can do it again.
Yeah.
Or you can teach somebody else the skill that you've learned.
Yeah.
On the single woman side of things, same questions, but would there be any different answers, like, touching on being a single woman, being in this lifestyle?
Nope, just do it, because there is nothing different, I think, about being a single woman. Yes, there's the practical, I guess, the safety aspect of it, but I am just... it's following your intuition, and I think for a single woman, it's awesome. There's so many other single women. You meet rad chicks. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do it, you're the kind of person that wants to do it. You're going to find other people like you, and then you've got these awesome mates, right? And then you can maybe if you want to be solo, you be solo. If you want to travel together and have an experience together, you can do that. So I think if there's an interest as a single woman, again, it's because you're meant to be an explorer and you're meant to travel and you're meant to do this. Or maybe you're meant to meet the love of your life and settle down. I don't know. Like, or maybe who knows what's going to happen. Maybe you're going to do this and you're going to be like, I want to go to Europe and do it. I want to like travel Europe and do the same thing. Or, you know what? I want to go on a boat. Like, who knows? But if you're into it, then there is a reason for that. And I don't think any different being a woman, being a man. But I think in practical terms, like learning about some things, but I didn't know anything and I was fine. You know, I didn't know. Now I'm learning. So I'll feel more in control. But again, like I was fine. I got stranded in Petaluma or whatever, California, and so what we were fine. I had people that my friend was like, I got a guy, I know someone that lives nearby if you need him to come pick you up and he'll take you. And then this one guy came up to me and his family was going to the store. He's like, I live down the road. He was with his wife and his kids. Like, he was safe and legit. He gave me his number. If you need help, you call me. I'll come back and get you. I was like working with AAA or whatever, but then I realized the bus could get a little bit further and I just took my time. But I was fine. You know? And then Fox and I stayed in a little hotel because I was like, fuck this bus for tonight. We're staying in a hotel. We're having a fancy 3-course dinner. Like, right. He had mussels and I was just like kicking back. And,
which, guys, we do splurge every once in a while.
Yeah, let's take a bath, right? I'm going to take a hot bath. Yeah, get in the pool, whatever, and have a big fluffy bed. But then I want to go back to my home, my little home, too, you know? Yeah, but definitely. It's every now and again, you're just like, I'm going to get fancy. It's nice. I was pissed at the bus because I was mad, but I turned it into a positive and I didn't focus and I wasn't like, oh God, this sucks. I was just like, we're gonna have fun, don't worry.
It's kind of almost like a flip side of things it's like every day in the 9-to-5 world, it's like you have to be dressed up and be fancy and be this and that. Now we get to like, it's almost like a dress up party the days that we actually get to dress up and go out to dinner and
exactly
it.
Like today you're having your little birthday party tonight and I was like curling my hair, putting on makeup. I'm usually like a sweaty, dirty, naughty rat's nest, like no makeup, I don't even care, frolicking around the desert, so dirty. And I was like, I'm gonna get myself pretty for tonight and put on a dress later and you just feel
I'm glad that
fancy.
Everybody can feel like they're welcome to dress up and have fun, and it doesn't matter if you wear a dress or if you wear a onesie. I don't give a shit. Come out and have fun.
Exactly, it's true because there's no. It's just all love and like you can be dancing around barefoot or in my Harley Davidson boots. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to personally send message out to anybody or the fans that are listening or plug in any other sites?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I if you're interested at all in energy work or healing or a reading, a session, or just want to kind of curious and want to learn a bit more about it, they can find me on Instagram. I would say Tiffany Feedy Divinity is my business Instagram, and just like message me, and even if they want to say a little more detail about this life or whatever, if you just want a reading, even a mini reading, whatever, I do Zoom or phone call. It doesn't have to be a thing. It can be 30 minutes, not less than that, because I'm a little long-winded, so it's gonna be 30 minutes or like an hour and a half. It just depends. But if they're curious about it, then I'm down. I'm into it. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Or reality transurfing. I'll chat about that any day. It's pretty rad.
I've actually told numerous of people is like, don't be shy. Reach out, even to me. Reach out to me through Van Life Days. Reach out through Nomad Happy Hour. The Facebook pages, anything that you guys know that you guys can get in touch with me with, and you just have a question about this lifestyle, or you're in this lifestyle and you guys just need somebody to chat with and you don't want to be with others because of the whole COVID thing, just message us.
Yeah.
You know, just ask the questions or just start a conversation. I don't mind getting on the phone either,
Right,
old school,
yeah.
and just talking with people.
Yeah. Also, if they want to hear a little bit more woo-woo fun stuff, Awaken Divinity is my podcast, and it's a little woo-hoo, but it's fun. So
check out that podcast also, guys. But I appreciate Tiffany definitely coming by today and doing this podcast with us. We've been trying to get together for a little bit now.
I appreciate you.
So guys, this is another episode of Nomad Happy Hour. Keep the rubber sides down and Nomads out.